You know that voice in your head, the one that starts whispering, you haven't earned this yet, every single time you try and take a break? Yep, that one. We got to talk about it because somewhere along the way, we started treating rest like a reward instead of a requirement. Like it's something that we have to earn through endless productivity and checking off every single item on our to do list. Welcome to Overwhelmed and Over It, the podcast where founders come to drop the hustle culture BS and learn how to actually enjoy building their business. I'm your host, Gabs, and I believe your success as a founder shouldn't come at the cost of your sanity. Each week, we bring you real, unfiltered conversation with founders who are figuring it out just like you are. No sugarcoating, no highlight reels, just honest stories and actionable lessons that help you navigate your founder journey with more clarity and confidence. Whether you're building your first company or scaling your fifth, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. At a recent keynote speech, I shared about rest is not a reward for productivity. Rest is a form of productivity in itself. And the quality of your rest, the quality of your pause, determines the power of your performance. Let that sink in for a minute. The quality of your pause determines the power of your performance. Because I want you to think about this. We've all sat and rested when you are burnt out, when you are exhausted, when you feel like you cannot keep going. But if you're doing it strictly because you feel like you have to, what happens? Your mind is still racing. Your inner critic gets real loud. She's like, why are you still sitting down? You have 75 things still on your to-do list. We are being lazy. There's more things to get done. And so while your physical body is sitting down and resting, your mind never does. And then you get up from that rest and you're like, damn, I'm still exhausted. I wonder why. It's because we're not machines designed to run continuously until we break down. Like, I don't know about you guys, but for a long time, cars were my vice. And so it's like, I never was a part of this ride till the wheels fall off group. My husband and I have been through so many cars growing up. But then also is like, I was the very first one to sign myself up for that. I was going to ride Gabs's wheels until they fell off. Like, who decided that that was what we were supposed to do? We're human beings and we live in these cycles of effort and recovery. And we need rest in order to do our best work, in order to have our biggest breakthroughs. And these big, massive changes in our work and in our careers and in the impact that we leave in this world, they often come after periods of the most meaningful rest. But you know what happens when you sit down to rest and you haven't totally given yourself permission for that. You're doing it because you hear me say it. You're doing it because you heard someone else post about it. You're doing it because you're like, oh, well, I'm trying to avoid burnout, or shoot, I'm already burnt out, so I guess I'm just going to go sit down somewhere. But you don't actually believe that that's what you need. Your inner critic's going to get real loud because they see this as like an empty, open moment to be like, are you sure that this is what you really want to do? Are you sure rest is really what you need? And then it starts to remind you while you're sitting here being lazy, you're falling behind. Everyone else is out there hustling and grinding while you're resting, you're falling behind. And it's like, no, you're not. Rest is productivity. When you give yourself permission to truly rest, you're not breaking your goals. You're not being lazy. You're literally recharging the very engine that powers all of your achievements. Think about it. When do your best ideas come to you? 90% of the time, it's not when you're sitting at your desk behind your monitor with your headphones on, cramming away, sending emails, writing content, sitting on another meeting. They come to you when you're out for a walk, or you've had a good night's sleep, or you're taking a shower, or you're cooking dinner. It's like those times when your mind is not fully occupied is when you can have those big, bold ideas. And that's not a coincidence, because your brain is doing its best work during periods of rest. So I'm going to give you a permission slip, even though you don't need one. We are not in elementary school. We don't need a hall pass from the teacher to go to the bathroom or to go take a nap. But just in case you need to hear it from someone else, you do not have to earn rest. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to prove that you're worthy of it. It's not a reward for being exhausted and burnt out, but it's vital to your success. So the next time that you try to go sit down somewhere and your inner critic thinks that they're going to start getting loud, just remember to tell them, heck no, because the quality of my pause determines the power of my performance. And I want to have a good performance. I want to make the impact on this world that I was meant to make. And so by giving myself permission to rest deeply and fully, you're not just being kind to yourself, you're being kind to the people who need your greatness in the world. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Overwhelmed and Over It. That feeling when your to-do list is spiraling out of control and you can't seem to find space to breathe, let alone think strategically about your business? That's exactly why I created the Productivity Quickie, the founder's 15-minute sacred appointment with yourself. Here's the hard truth. The number one thing that keeps brilliant founders stuck isn't lack of ideas or capability. It's feeling buried under an endless to-do list. And this is exactly what the Productivity Quickie is all about. It's your time, 15 minutes a week, to get honest about your priorities, manage your to-do list, and create space to actually enjoy the business that you're building. So right now, I want you to pause and go to gabshayes.com/theproductivityquickie or check the show notes, because when you give yourself this gift of intentional time, everything else falls into place. Until next time, remember, you're not behind, you're not failing, and you've freaking got this. I'm your host, Gabs, and thank you for listening to Overwhelmed and Over It.